Hey harmonizers, welcome to a Mustang update with Cadbury. First up, we are filling a new water trough for him and have to drag a hot line over so that way we can do heated water for him. This other water trough, although you think we would use that, it's actually frozen in place. The joys of winter, so I'm just sharing, what it's like caring for a Mustang because he poops in the other water. So he just likes to stand with his butt to it. But that's what it's like caring for a Mustang. And then this video footage here I thought kind of interesting because essentially with my winter Mustang taming, my schedule is definitely not every day. It's a combo of some days are really cold or really blizzardy. Some days I'm just really big, pregnant, tired, and don't really want to go outside. Or because it gets dark earlier. So I'm not out every single day because if I've got a busy day going on with work and kids and other things, then it gets dark pretty early. So then it's not really that great to go out and do anything with him because we don't have lights set up for his pen. So the reality is that he goes some days or even a whole week without even seeing me. And then when I come back, it can look like this, where I start to approach him and he's like, wait a second, I forget who you are. And this is something that I find is different with a lot of Mustangs. It's pretty common though that if you're in the early stages of building a bond with them and building trust, if you go a couple days or few days or even a week without seeing them, sometimes what can happen is they kind of go back to being wild or being feral, where they're like, oh, I don't know if I can trust being around you anymore. And you can see like I'm approaching him slowly. I'm not really doing anything different than I would have done the previous session. But for whatever reason, he's just kind of like, no, you're scary. And he does this thing where he hides on the other side of the hay bale and kind of plays ring around the rosy of the hay bale. And I have to kind of jump back and forth and try to just get on the same side of the hay bale as him because he's trying to get away from me. And you can see in his body language, he's legit nervous and scared and running away. And it's not because I've done anything bad or mean to him. It's just part of Mustang taming that they can get nervous. So now I've sped up the footage so that way you can get an idea of just how long this process takes. And this is sped up ×8 for speed, which is significantly faster and lets you kind of see all the walking back and forth, all the running around. And I wanted to include some of this footage for you guys to see, just because sometimes I'm sharing with you highlights of, this is exciting, we just did this new big thing, or look, like we're touching and all of this stuff. But I think it's good to include some of this other footage to show you that training horses and taming Mustangs can be kind of like a roller coaster with ups and downs and wiggles in between. And it's not always a linear line of you're constantly progressing and doing better, better, better. Things are going to happen where you have little setbacks. And to me, like, this is nothing awful. This is just, okay, I haven't seen you for a few days because, weather, other commitments, stuff like that. And now you're like, oh, I don't know. So I just be patient and walk around and keep kind of going with him until I can get to a place where I can pet him and do those touches again. But the funny thing about filming in the wintertime and when I don't have a person out there, I've just got the phone on a post, you don't really get to see the good ending here. I've slowed it down to regular time footage and I finished with petting him and then now I'm walking away, but it was on the other side of the hay bale, so you can't really see that. And I also wanted to show you guys just kind of a close-up of how long his toes are. So I'm super eager to get to the point where we can actually pet him and do things a little bit quicker so that way we can take care of him and get his long toes taken care of, because I think that will make him a lot more comfortable. Of course, he can definitely run around in the field, but it's the challenging little beginning steps of what we need to do to get the horse ready to be cared for and ultimately get a better quality of life. So it's that fine balance of trying to do enough to make progress and not do too much that the horse gets overwhelmed. And you figure out things along the way because they are different. They have similarities, the Mustangs, but they definitely are different. And if you look at my videos of past Mustangs I've had, Cadbury has some similarities to some of my Mustangs. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments if there's any Mustangs that ring a bell for you that you think, oh yeah, like Cadbury's a little similar to so-and-so. And if there's any that you think are so different from him and not at all like him, that'd be interesting to hear what your thoughts are too. And so here I'm just showing you guys making progress. You can see it's a different day because now it's snowing and I'm still out there. It wasn't ridiculously cold, so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll come out and do a little bit. And I'm just working on approaching him, doing little gentle touches, giving him time to think and process, which is what he's doing when he's kind of turning his head left and right. He's not sure to be confident or not confident, and just little approaches, little pets, and then walking away afterwards. So I'm trying not to do too much. It's just a little bit, gradually doing a little bit more at a time, and then stepping back to allow him time to think and lick and chew like he's doing there. Even when they shake their head like that, like he did, it can be them releasing a little bit of stress and tension. So making sure I allow him time to do all of those little pieces is important. Even the little lowering of the head there and blowing out, it's important to give them time to process. Sometimes when we don't allow for that time, that's when mistakes happen. However, horses are different. They have different personalities, just like humans have different personalities. And so some horses need more time to think and process than others. And some need you to move on kind of quickly because they get bored or they get frustrated. And we figure out a lot of this stuff as we go. And as long as the horse has a flight path, meaning they can get around you, it's usually okay. And you don't have to worry too much. But sometimes horses can not really understand that people are not as big and powerful and strong and sturdy, and we don't interact the same way. So it's important that they understand to go around us as well, and be careful that we don't put ourselves in a position where they're likely to knock us over, because they are so much bigger and stronger than us. It's just important to remember that safety piece for sure. So here you can see as I'm approaching him and I'm doing those little touches, sometimes he steps back and sometimes he doesn't. And it's the moments where he doesn't step back that I want to praise or end on one of those notes. So it's a fine balance of touching and not doing too much. And I showed you guys at the end just how touching different parts of his face or touching under his chin, he still wasn't ready for those pieces yet. And so that's how I know not to bother with a halter just yet, because I need to have him much more comfortable with me touching all around his whole face. So this is a different session now, and you can only tell really just because it's not snowing anymore, because I probably look the same every time I come out, since I've got my hat on and my coat on, and you know, I've got the same gloves on and things like that. Sometimes you'll see I've got a neck warmer on, like one of those little, it covers my ears, my neck, and everything. It's kind of like a scarf, but not. I'm not really sure what to call it. And I'm wearing that now because it's super cold, but I still was like, okay, I need to just go out and keep seeing him because I want him to make progress. I want to be able to trim those feet. And here he's doing a lot better with me being able to approach him, pet his face. And you might be thinking, oh, but didn't your last video, didn't you show us him being pet in the shelter? And that's true. And this is now working on petting him in different spaces, because it's another thing that Mustangs have where they can end up with their favorite spots, or they can have like just certain spots where they feel comfortable with you approaching them and touching them. And then when you want to start exploring new spaces or standing in different places, it's different for them. And this is kind of exciting that he's getting more curious. We're getting to the place where I can actually start to reach over and offer some kisses on his nose, which is pretty big deal. He's getting a lot more brave and comfortable around me. And usually when I walk away, he follows me, but this time he didn't, just kind of walks off. But overall, lots of big progress in this video. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.
Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.